The Garmin Fenix 6 Sapphire. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Make sure you guys like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment below. And if you want to see more videos like this, I just talked about the infamous and super hyped Whoop. So if you want to see that one after this, check that out right above my head here. And I'm also going to compare some of these too. So make sure you subscribe for more of these. If you're trying to do some compare and contrast, if you want the pros and cons and me talking about the price points of each, make sure you subscribe because you're going to want to hear about that. All right, so I have had the Garmin, actually the Garmin Vivo, whatever, tomato, Smart 4 I've had for a long time, and I've done a review on that one as well, and I've talked highly about it, and I've talked about it a lot, and for $100 on Amazon, it's pound for pound a fantastic device. So I have long wanted to try the Fenix. The Fenix is like one of Garmin's top of the line products. Now, one of my big issues with Garmin is I feel like this is what they did. I feel like they put out a survey to their email list and they're like, what features do you want to see? And then they took all those responses and then they just made a device for every single suggestion that was provided. Because literally, guys, their product line is like 200 devices long. And I think that really hurts them. Actually, one of the first things from a business perspective, because that's what I do here, right? I talk about devices to help you perform better as a business owner. One of the first things, business lesson, that Steve Jobs did when he came back for his second tenure at Apple after they kicked him out and then he came back, was they had like 250 products in their product line. He actually cut it down to 10 because he's like, there's no way we can have a really concise and solid marketing message around 250 products. And that was one of the first things they did and really was a huge benefit to the company. So I think that Garmin, and maybe you guys are like, Garmin, I thought they did like GPSs in the 90s. And you're right, but they do watches really well. And I hate the fact that they have so many because I feel like it makes their message convoluted. These are great products. However, I will say this, I expected, and I'm gonna get into some of the specifics as it relates to the Fenix, I expected like a massive upgrade, right? I got this for Prime Day, so I got it like $300 off, but normally it's in like the $700 range, like $699, $700, something like that. So I expected a lot out of this thing, right? Like it's expensive and I'm a little underwhelmed. I know that's kind of been the theme of what I've been saying lately about these devices is that I'm underwhelmed. I guess I just go back to the stupid Vivo Smart 4, tomato, right? Because this thing is so amazing that it has just set the bar so high for me. Because here's the deal. It gives you everything you need for like 90% of people. All right, so let me explain what I mean by that. Let's go back and let's talk about the unboxing of this product. So pretty basic what you get here. Actually, one of the things I just talked about with Whoop that I didn't like was that there was like this extra little charging pod that came with it that you have to like synchronize with, right? Like you use like, it's morphin time and you had to like put your Megazords together to charge the thing. And I said that Garmin was great because you can plug your cord directly into the watch. So this is great because all you need is a cord. Now it is a specific cord, right? And that's the same with the Vivo Smart, like whatever. This is the same thing. It is a unique cord, so if you lose that, you're kind of effed and you got to get a new one. But if I just need the charger and I just need the watch, I can roll with that. That's totally fine. I can maintain two devices. So that's or two items with a device. It's not bad. So as far as the onboarding process, okay, this is going to be the theme throughout. It feels really antiquated. It feels like something out of the 90s still. Like, so for example, I was touching the screen thinking like, hey, I can start it and like and nothing was working. I'm like, oh, it must be broken. You have to literally hit the dials. Like it's fully analog. There's no touchscreen ability. And I'm like, guys, it's 2021 and this is one of your newer products that came out within the last couple of years. How are we not touchscreen at this point, right? Like I feel like that's kind of a given. And so it took a little bit of time to kind of navigate that and then also onboarding it. So I like the Garmin Connect app because of the data side and we'll get to that. But in terms of the onboarding part, the instructions aren't as seamless as some of the other devices that I've tried, like some of the more modern devices, right? I've talked about Viome, 8 Sleep, Whoop. Like you can tell they've been made with a little like a very modern approach, and so it's very seamless as far as like how you connect it and this and that. I had the exact same problem and I continue to have the same problem, although it doesn't happen often. Sometimes I have to reconnect the Vivo Smart. It is only, guys, it is only one. It's not Vivo. I'm just gonna call it Vivo Smart because that's what I always call it, the Vivo Smart 4. I do have to sometimes reconnect it and it's always a pain in the ass. Like there's always an issue with it. It's always some complication and I have to try multiple times and troubleshoot and stuff like that. So that's very common I found with Garmin products. But with this one specifically, I had the exact same problem and it just wasn't clear. So they give you instructions, like this massive little tiny manual that, I mean, it's pretty thick. It's like you could spend a whole day reading this thing. I've kind of perused through it, but again, it just feels like really old school. I'm like, for real? Like, am I really gonna go through all this? Like, that's so, this is like, bro, this is a waste of paper. Like, no one's gonna read all this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you would. But it could have been, they could use technology a little bit better in my opinion. Anyways, all right, so once you get it connected, probably no issues. The biggest thing is going to be this, right? So you're going to get all the basics, like I mentioned with the Vivo Smart, right? Body battery, huge. All these various aspects, right? As far as like tracking the basics, heart rate, how many steps you took, how many stairs you climbed, how many calories you burned, some of your basic sleep metrics. That's all covered here, and you're going to get that here as well. So I kind of like that was seamless because it's the same app, same configuration. The biggest difference, and why I'm going to not keep this device, I'm going to return it, is because the biggest thing is this is going to include a ton of activity tracking, right? That's the biggest difference. Now, it did include something that this doesn't include to my knowledge. At least I haven't discovered it, and I've had it for years, so I'm assuming it's not there. But it does measure how many breaths you take, like per minute, which that may benefit you, it may not. But the biggest thing is going to be activities. It also tells you like what altitude you're at. It tells you what time the sun's going to set, like some things of that nature that you don't get with this. But again, you'd have to be like, why? Like, I don't care that I'm 946 feet above sea level. Like, what does that have any relation to my life or my performance as a business owner to know that I'm 900? But like, I really notice when I'm at 1,200 feet above sea level, I'm just really a lot more productive with my work. Like, so I just don't see that being a real valid application to my life unless I was a serious person, like into like cycling and stuff like, like that's been my takeaway. Is if you're really serious into a specific sport, like you're trained to be some kind of like a professional athlete, or you're training for a triathlon, or running a marathon, something like that, right? You're gonna really love that aspect of it. But for the rest of us, I don't know you're really gonna use a lot of it. I think you're really paying for a lot of things you're never gonna use. And there's a million activities, literally. I mean, there's like, legit, I think there's like probably 50 different activities that you can engage with that you like turn it on and let it know like, hey, I'm swimming, or hey, I'm hiking, or hey, I'm kayaking, or I'm, doing underwater basket weaving, like whatever. Like you can pick the various things that you're gonna be doing. Now, as far as, and this is something I talked about the Whoop that I really liked, and I'll do this further when I talk about the comparison with the Whoop. I like that the Whoop is very comfortable on your wrist, right? Like you could barely notice it. This is literally the exact opposite, right? Like this is legit as far on the other side of the spectrum as I can possibly get for a biometric tool. It is large, it weighs a lot, and it really is kind of like I want to take it off right now. Like I just got back from the gym, I went to the pool, like afterwards and this and that, and it just feels like I'm wearing like a little, what were those Digimons where you had to like take care of your dinosaur when you're in elementary school? Like that's what it feels like. I'm like with all the analog stuff and everything, like it just, I don't know why. And then the big thing too is that from like an aesthetic standpoint, if you are into fashion, which I do like fashion. I'm not like a, like try to be on GQ or something, but I do like to mix and match and accessorize my watches. And I don't like that like this would have to be like my go-to, right? Like I'm in the shower, I'm having to wear this big like janky watch. I wish honestly that Garmin and Whoop would like have a baby, and then that would be like the ultimate product. Like honestly, like I would take the comfort and the aesthetics of the Whoop, add a digital interface, but take the comfort part with it, maybe blend some of the data, more of the modern stuff, but also to some of the things, the components of Garmin that I like, specifically body battery. I think like that's like the biggest thing that's gonna benefit, but then include strain from the Whoop. Anyways, bottom line is a little bit underwhelmed. Positive thing is the battery life. So like I didn't even charge it full, and I think it was like almost 2 weeks. It was like 12 days, and it was like 85% charge. So in terms of battery life, I mean, for freak's sake, I mean, if this thing's gonna be this large and janky, it better be a long battery. So that's definitely a huge benefit. Now, a huge detriment that I do like with some of the other devices, and it's not a big deal for me, but I expect it for this price point. I really, really do, because there's devices that are less than this that provide it. Is HRV. So I talk about HRV all the time. My editor's probably really freaking tired of hearing me talk about HRV, but it is such like one of the most important metrics that you can discern as a business owner, because you don't realize how much stress has an impact on the body, and not just like stress in terms of running your business, but all the things you engage with cause stress, right? So going to the gym, obviously that's a different type of stress in the body. Like everything you do causes some degree either marginally or substantially on the body. And so knowing that, that actual data is important, albeit theirs is wrapped up in body battery. I still like the hard data. Like I said, for me, I'm getting that from my 8 sleep, from my smart bed. So I'm already pulling that data in nocturnal HRV. Some of the devices are only nocturnal, which sucks because then it's like, I don't know what's affecting my HRV throughout the day. I prefer to be reading all day. But I would have liked to see that with this device. So this does have, you have to download another app, another Garmin app. And basically that allows you to download some different HRV type apps. But it looks like from the ones that I looked at, it requires like another device you have to wear that like goes around your like waist or whatever this area, sternum, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to wear a sternum device all day in the middle, like a training bra. Like that's kind of weird, right? So that's not ideal. But I do like the fact that they do have some apps. I did change the watch face. I downloaded, it's called IQ, Connect IQ. I did change the watch face to try to find something that was even like remotely looked like it was even maybe like 2002, like for real. So that helped a little bit. But again, overall, I think my takeaway would be this. Came away, had high expectations, heard great things. I heard people praise it, albeit older generation folks that I've talked to about it, like mentors and stuff. Sorry, mentors. They love it. But I would just settle for this. I like that this is just a band and it's not this whatever, but I have the functionality of a touch screen on it. So it just covers everything that I need. I just think it's great and I'm going back to it. Now, I will say this, something you really need, I think, and again, I've talked about this before, is that nocturnal HRV. So you're not gonna get that with the Garmin Vivo Smart 4. You're not gonna get that. So if you can find a way to do that, I think one of two things. 8 Sleep is a fantastic option. The reason I like 8 Sleep as the ideal tandem with this is because you are getting the temperature control with the bed. So it's temperature optimization. The reason that's so important is because you enter into various stages of sleep, or you can't enter into certain stages of sleep depending on the temperature. So you need to replicate what our ancestors experienced, meaning it got colder at night. The problem is we get under these big blankets and things that you wouldn't have had ancestrally. And so we stay really warm, and that prevents you from going into the 8 stages of sleep, specifically deep sleep, the ways that you should. So what I like about 8 Sleep is it has this like smart technology that recognizes where you are in your sleep and will modify the temperature in accordance with that to maximize those stages of sleep. So that's a huge bonus. The other one that I'd recommend too that I've worn and I've talked about before is called BioStrap. So BioStrap is pretty much just a nocturnal device, and it's going to measure a lot of that sleep data, including HRV score. So one of those two in tandem with this, if you want to wear 2 different devices and just wear the BioStrap at night, you could do that. If you won't want to have another band that you wear and you just want to have something in place all the time, plus manage the temperature of your bed, which is a huge bonus, guys. I mean, that's a huge thing. I'm telling you, you could maximize your sleep and sleep less versus sleeping longer, right? And honestly get way more rest and utility out of that versus just being in bed for 12 hours. So that's a huge factor. I don't diminish that. That's a huge factor. But those would be the tandem options that I would look at, not necessarily trying to find one device that does it all, because I've been trying it with these devices and I'm just not finding it. So that's my Garmin Fenix 6 Sapphire review. I hope you guys got a lot of it. If you have any questions, make sure to drop those in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, specifically if you're looking for advantages as a business owner. It's what we do here on StartupU TV, is talk about how you can get an edge over your competition from a marketing standpoint, performance, productivity, you name it, we talk about it. See you guys in the next one.